A whistleblower is telling the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee the Jeffrey Epstein accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is getting special treatment in prison and actively preparing a commutation application. In a letter from Congressman Jamie Raskin addressed directly to President Trump, Raskin says the whistleblower at Maxwell's new prison camp alleges that her extraordinary treatment includes customized meals delivered directly to her, visits to the prison exercise area after hours with a prison guard escort, and even access to a service dog in training to play with. This whistleblower also claims that one top prison official complained that he is, quote, sick of having to be Maxwell's B-word. I'll note that CNN has not independently verified the whistleblower's claims, but my source on this tonight is Congressman Jamie Raskin. And Congressman, on this whistleblower, I think a lot of people want to know what else they had to say to you.
Well, the whistleblower made clear that Ghislaine Maxwell is just in a completely different category than every other prisoner. She gets essentially room service behind bars. She can use the shower. She can use the gym whenever she wants to. She gets special treatment there. And unlike other prisoners who have to communicate with people outside of the prison through the unreliable and very slow mail system, she's actually getting messages sent through the warden to the people that she wants to communicate with, and the warden is actually offering her the opportunity to communicate on legal matters with people outside of the prison through the warden. So it's a pretty extraordinary situation. Of course, her presence in that camp facility itself is completely astonishing, given that they had never had a sex offender before, and sex offenders were not allowed in that camp. But she was allowed in, and she got in pretty much on an overnight basis after she met with Todd Blanche. She was subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee on July 23rd after a vote on July 22nd, and it was on July 24th that Todd Blanche, who had been Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer, now working for the DOJ as the #2 person, went over to meet her, not in order to find out what she knew in terms of getting other people to be investigated who were involved in the $1.5 billion international child sex ring, but rather to find out what she would say about Donald Trump. And he pronounced himself satisfied when, she said that she had never seen Donald Trump in any compromising position with young women or girls. In fact, she'd never seen Epstein in some compromising position with underage women or girls. So anyway, he liked what he heard, and then suddenly she got this transfer.
Yeah, and we've asked the White House about that and Todd Blanche himself. But can I ask you on the whistleblower, did you speak to this person directly?
Well, I don't want to get into any more depth on it, but I would say this is a person who is in a position to know everything that was reported to us.
And do you think there's more
Absolutely
to come
in a
out
position to know
about how she's being treated or the treatment she's getting, I should say?
I do. Well, one of the other things that came up was that Ghislaine Maxwell is actively seeking a commutation, a pardon from the president right now. And I learned from somebody else, a Republican, that there's a lot of chatter that, he just pardoned 77 people who participated in different ways in his attempt to lie about the 2020 presidential election, his attempt to overthrow the election, and all of that, some people are seeing as a smokescreen to get people talking about that, because none of these people are facing federal prosecution. They've already been disbarred or faced other kinds of charges. But all of that is really meant to distract people from what may be a pardon forthcoming for Ghislaine Maxwell.
With us now is Jennifer Freeman. She's an attorney who represents some of the survivors of Epstein and Maxwell. First of all, we should note CNN has not been able to independently confirm or deny the allegations. But Jennifer, what is your reaction to what Congressman Raskin is saying?
I've heard similar reports. I've also heard, and these are just, I can't confirm them either, reports that someone did complain about this preferential treatment and was promptly transferred to a higher security prison. I don't know if that's true, but that is what's being reported.
Raskin's letter also alleges that Maxwell is working on a commutation application to get out of prison. She would send this to Trump, presumably. Its exact contents and whether it's been submitted, that was not immediately clear. What's your message to President Trump about such a commutation application if he was being asked to commute her sentence? And how would your clients react if such a thing were to happen?
That would be very distressing, disgraceful, and upsetting if there's any effort to move forward with a suggestion of pardon or commutation. And it also doesn't make sense, Jake, because the grounds for commutation are typically things like wrongful conviction. Well, that's not going to apply here. A jury of her peers held she was a sex trafficker. Another example would be rehabilitation. That is also not going to be possible since she has not expressed any remorse. Another example would be that it's a nonviolent crime, and that doesn't seem to apply either. In fact, I took a look at the particular form that you'd have to fill out, she or her attorney would have to fill out. And one of the questions on the form was, what was your role in the offense? And do not omit facts or minimize your role. And do you accept responsibility for your criminal conduct? So she's going to have to, if she goes forward with this, she's going to have to address those issues.
Jamie Raskin, Congressman Raskin's letter also demands that President Trump make Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who before he was in government, he was a former personal attorney for Trump, available for a public hearing. Would you like to see that? Would you like Todd Blanche to sit for a public hearing?
I think that would be appropriate, given that he did interview her with very little knowledge, prior knowledge about the case. I think that would be fully appropriate to do that. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I think it would be a good move.
What do your clients think is going on here? I mean, with Todd Blanche meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, and then she gets transferred to a minimum security prison where there are all these accounts that she's treated unusually well, and anybody who complains about it is punished. Now she's talking about her sentence being commuted. What do the survivors think? Not about how awful it is, because I know they think that, but why this is happening.
They are deeply concerned that this is more of the cover-up of the Epstein files, which have not been released. Hopefully we're getting closer to that. But that's another aspect of the cover-up. I did ask some clients today if you'd like to hear their comments on this development or possible development of the commutation. I'd like to read a few of them, if that's okay.
Sure.
Here's Annie Farmer, who testified at the trial, at Maxwell's trial. Maxwell is a convicted sex trafficker and felon who's been accused of lying under oath. Her latest attempt to escape accountability makes it clear she has no remorse for her crimes. Any special legal treatment for her could not only be profoundly insulting, it would be downright dangerous for survivors. Liz Stein, who I know you've interviewed, said, as survivors, justice is the one measure of truth we have left. Ghislaine Maxwell was tried, convicted, and sentenced in a court of law, and her sentence should be upheld like anyone else's. So not happy. They're not happy, and they're very concerned that while the trajectory that they see developing in the public eye, where there's a movement towards the release of the file, there was a press conference to discuss that, the actual step to them whatsoever.
Okay. Jennifer Freeman, thank you so much. Appreciate it.